Welcome to this episode of ATSFE Battlefield Walkaround. ATSFE BWs, or Battlefield Walkaround, are created to discuss the historical situation, components, especially those missing and or required to play, bat support, if any, then deep dive into the counter scenarios, module notes. You'll know the other Battlefield Walkarounds and the map. In today's episode, I'll be taking a look at ATS EVO Basic Game, Volga or Bust. And we'll see how many times it takes before I actually mess up saying Volga. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and do an overview of what you get with this particular module. Now remember, the ATSE EVO Basic Game, the EVO is the evolution of the rules. So this is kind of like a starter set, testing how the game plays, the new rules, things along those lines. So what you get is, as you can see, there are 4 map panels here I've laid out. So you do get those 4. You get, well, let's do this. So the EVO rules for the Volga or Bust. So you're going to get those, and those come in at 18 pages. So this one is Stalingrad circa 1942. That's kind of the historical situation with this. So you get the rules, you get 6 scenarios. You get one of the classic markers, small. You get 2. You get the Germans and you get the Soviets. And let's zoom in on these, and so you can see that these are the overhead counters. Now you can use your normal counters, the normal counters. You don't have to use the overhead counters with this. And the overhead counters are the same for the Germans as well. So you get 2 sheets of those. You get a hit multiplier table, and this is in the rules. And then you also get a casualty table, which is slightly different. Remember, these are the EVO rules. So in many of these cases, you're using 2 D10 instead of just 1 D10. And you can see here for the casualty, it's 11 to 15, and the casualty table goes on. There's accuracy shots, so it comes with all the charts that you do need to play with. So that's the basics of what you get with the EVO. After going through all 6 of the scenarios that we have here that comes with this, there are more than enough counters here. Actually, you really could, in some cases, only use half of these counters. The most that we have on any unit-wise is 16. And of course, there are 8 here by 2. So there's 16 right there. You get another 16. So you have a total of actually 32 of each of these counters. Of the 6-4, what is that? 6-4-8 counters. And then the Russians have plenty of the 5-4-7 counters. So looking at it here, there's plenty of counters to complete the entire all 6 scenarios. So that is at least a good thing on that one. And we do not have need for any of the, just double checking. Oh, nope. We do not have need for any of the large counters. So all you will need is this sheet right here of small counters. And if you have the small counters, then you already have plenty of these. What is nice is when you do get this basic pack, they do include this. So you really have everything that you need to look at. Going through the scenarios here, all of them use the entire map. There are no sections off, so let's go ahead and take a look at the map next. Okay, looking through the map, there are quite a bit of different terrain on here. From rubble buildings, rubble itself. We have masonry buildings, we have wood buildings, we have walls. We also have down here a creek or depression here. So those linear depressions need to be, make sure you understand that as well. And then if we go over to the other side over here, we have plenty of rubble here. Wooden rubble. We definitely have some the masonry rubble as well. Plenty. So remember, all the two-story buildings are, or all the multi-hex buildings are two-story buildings. So that works there. This one in H10 here has a stairwell because that's what the big box stands for. So you could definitely do that. Doing some different leveling out. Same thing with K3 and L2 here with that. So overall, it's your typical Stalingrad type map with different. They pretty much show the general terrain. Probably the only real interesting feature is really that the depression, the linear depression. I'm pretty sure that's, but this right here is pretty interesting. That's really kind of the only real out of the ordinary where you might want to look at the rules on that for the map. So, but all in all, pretty decent map. Pretty pleased with it. It is the map panels, so you do have to deal with making sure they're lined up right, which this is a map that could have been easily printed out on one. This is like a standard size map. It's not anything bigger. It is a standard size map. And since all the scenarios use the entire map, or the entire map is playable, it would have been nice to have one gigantic map. That being said, really good. No problems setting it up. You definitely have everything you need. Most of the time in these videos, I would definitely be putting the rules first, or ahead of at least the map analysis and the scenarios. But what I wanted to go through here is the fact that these are the rules for the EVO, and you can almost think of this as a play test. So you'll want to make sure you go through the rules. The scenario is different. The standard of the sequence of play is slightly different, and so you'll want to make sure you go through these rules pretty thoroughly. There are some definite positives, as well as some stuff that is not so much. We don't like so much, and we are going to be releasing a podcast at the same time with this. So make sure you guys listen to that, and you can hear our hot takes. Haven't played any of the scenarios under the new EVO rules, but there are a lot of really good ideas in this. So I don't want to say it's all craziness, but there are a lot of good ideas, but then there's some questionable ones as too. It is still in development, and if you watch Mitch's Battlefield Walkaround, the first page of the rules actually has where some of the suggestions and things like that. So it's really interesting to see how that worked out. And there you have it. This is what comes with the ATS Volga or Bust Basic Game. If you're interested in seeing the evolution of the rules and want to get a part of it, this is great. It has everything that you will need to play. You will use a lot of the standard rules. So the rules that come with this, you use the new SOP, but anything that's not listed here, you use the standard rules on that. There are quite a few differences, and it would be neat to see what some of what you guys think of these rule differences. That's all I've got today for today's episode of this ATSFE Battlefield Walkaround, Volga or Bust, the ATS EVO Basic Game. We've been calling it EVO. If you got any questions or comments, I'd be glad to hear them, and go ahead and put them in. I'd also like to thank my co-contributors, Mitch Land and Evan York. Thank you very much. Bye.